ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Who is that? Oh, it's just us, the three amigos of Back Row Banter. Yeah, that's right. We're missing Adam this week, but don't worry, I'm here. It's Nathaniel. We also got Blake and Tyler kicking it on the mics with us tonight.
Hola.
Blake, in the meantime, a little bit distracted as well too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Adam did have to miss this week. I believe he said he was at his brother's bachelor party.
I believe
so
I think that's what it is.
shout out to
is that on the East Coast? Did he tell us where that was? I'm sure we just forgot.
We might
such
have.
great friends we are.
yeah.
I want to say Vegas, but then I feel like I'm just like kind of.
It's in a secure, undisclosed location. We'll
There
say.
we go. That's all that matters.
And so yes, Adam is gone tonight, but it's gonna be an old guys rule edition. No youngins, no Gen Zers out here, just the old guys kicking it 90s style on Back Row Banter tonight.
Big yurts.
That being said, let's just chat for a bit. How you guys been? I mean, what you been up to?
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm with Ty. Yeah. We're all adults, right?
I mean, this is the old guys rule edition, and
pushing through life.
Yeah, we're all just kind of hanging in there, working. It's tax season. I got my tax return recently,
Nice.
so
Okay.
I got some plans for that already. Got a good buddy from Arizona who's getting married this year, but he's getting married in Greece. So I'm going to be using that towards my my travel fund on that kind of thing.
Nice.
So,
When's the wedding?
I believe it's August, November, somewhere in there. I don't know. I got to save the date on the fridge, so it's at least up there, and I can get to it when I need to.
Yeah.
As long as you can get back for mine, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Your bachelor party. Speaking of bachelor parties, your guys' bachelor parties are back-to-back weekends. So I'm going to just have to I think take the whole week off, probably
7 days straight.
Yeah,
just comatose.
Yeah, because that's just a rough go for anyone.
A lot of booze,
especially someone on the wrong side of 30 nowadays. I mean, I'd like to say that I'm going to take it easy and be very responsible, but judging in terms of close friend relationships to booze consumption, these are two exponential graphs on both of these guys. So I'm quite close to both to you, which means I think my overall consumption of alcohol also increases. So it's it's just a problem at this point, anyways.
Yeah, that'll be interesting times, man. Have you ever been to Greece?
I have not. No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. My my roommate in college, he went to Greece and Italy on a trip, and my brother went to Spain, but I have never been in kind of that area. But I would love to go because that is a very old part of the world. I've always wanted to obviously go to Athens and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
too. I think that'd be super cool to visit. But yeah, regardless, I love to travel. Seems like a fun time, and can't complain. Good excuse.
Facts.
I'm trying to think what's been going on in the entertainment world recently. So we just did have
we
Oscars.
talked about briefly the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That is true. Yeah, his overall little feud, I guess, or trying to take over CW. It seems.
Yeah, basically what it seems like. I guess for jokes wise, do we think he went as crazy as Wesley Snipes on the Blade 3 shooting? Or do you think he's a little more reeled in than that?
I mean, he's
more.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit more controlled than that, right? The Blade 3, I mean, infamously, Wesley Snipes refusing to open his eyes for a scene. So they had to animate them open is still one of my favorite stories.
I always hear you reference that, and I always like see kind of mumbles of that too, like on the internet and Reddit and whatnot. And I need to go back and watch that scene and pause it just to actually get like the full respect for that scene.
For sure. Yeah, it's incredible.
I'm sure it's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely something I'd have to go back and watch, just because when you're watching it, it's one of those things that you don't notice right away.
Well, speaking of which, some other news as well too. Shazam 2, not a good opening for those guys. It's like
you don't say.
$30 million they said it's gonna start with, or debut with here in America. Here in America. Which is a bummer because I really like the director, David F. Sandberg, who did Lights Out, as well.
Yeah, Lights Out is underrated horror.
I think it's a
PG-13 horror as well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Which he made a short story or a short film on YouTube, and I remember watching that, and it messed me up for a little bit. And then he made it.
The short story is actually really good.
Yeah, it's very good. I really think he's got a good storytelling idea. I want to say he might have done the second Annabelle too. I always get him. I can never remember if the second Annabelle is him or if it's our boy Flanagan.
Ooh.
I don't think it's him.
Flanagan. It's got to be.
Yeah, it is him. It's David F. Sandberg. So he did the second Annabelle, which, if you have not
seen,
is actually very good and very scary. Like, there's two scenes of that are very good.
Yeah, arguably, I would probably go on record and say that I think that's the scariest film in that universe.
In the Conjuring universe?
In the Conjuring universe, yeah. I would
Besides,
say
like,
second
mainstream
is
Conjuring?
Conjuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I remember going to see that one in theaters. Speaking of which, this was a reaction which I had in the theaters this past week. Evil Dead Rise. It is looking.
You saw that?
The theater. I saw the trailer in theaters.
Okay.
And I was being in theaters with people. Man, that movie is looking scary. Like, I'm not afraid to say that movie looks scary as fuck, and like it looks like it's gonna be a ton of fun, but I'm gonna be doing the fetal position in my theater seat, I think, the whole time during that movie.
I've been staying away from the trailers and teasers, but that is something I do want to see for sure.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm trying to think of the last time I was just like really, really scared in a movie theater. And
I know what mine is.
What was that?
Hereditary.
Yeah, fair enough. That's for sure. Strong one. I think I would say that's kind of like a little bit of an unforgotten one was the reboot of the Blair Witch project back in like 2016 or so. I want to say. There was a scene in that really got me pretty good with like the little dolls that they find at the campsite. Did you see that, Blake? Sorry, I just saw you sneeze.
Yeah, excuse me. I just sneezed. I'm getting my bearings back. I actually watched the remake maybe about 5 or 6 months ago when I went to watch the original.
Okay.
So I kind of watched them back to back, and the remake's actually not that bad for.
Yeah, I thought it's pretty good. I want to say
reboots.
I want to say that's Adam Wingard, who did Godzilla afterwards.
I think so.
Yeah, I want to say that is him.
So, yeah.
But yeah, the bit with the Blair Witch dolls and where they snap one, and then one of the other girls just cracks. Oh man, that really got me back then. But yeah. Tyler, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that's stood out to me horror-wise in movie theater where you get like the hair on
Yeah,
your
that's
neck
what
stand
I'm
up
saying.
and then
I specifically remember Insidious. Insidious is always the one that I go back to, being in theaters, watching it, and just being completely freaked out, like
Insidious
genuinely,
was good.
and
I think
genuinely like, should I leave the theater right now, or like, can I handle this kind of thing?
once in a theater, it's very hard to get me out.
Sure,
You have to make
Mhm.
a solid argument. Even if it's a dog shit movie, I'm more than likely gonna finish it.
That's fair.
As far as like what really kind of scared me in theaters, especially for like one of the first times, gotta be Paranormal Activity.
Yeah,
oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Paranormal Activity when that shit first came out was just
I saw.
epic.
That was a different game. Yeah, that was a
Mhm.
different game when those were coming out.
I remember I saw. What was it? The Right. There was like there was like a
No.
little reboot of exorcism movies for a run there in like the
Yep,
later
all the possession
2000s.
movies, yeah. The Right, The Devil
There's
Inside,
another
Yeah.
one coming.
Well,
the Evil something, the Evil Then.
yeah,
Something,
Devil Within, yeah, Exorcism of
Yeah.
Emily Rose, I think kind of kicked it
Yeah.
off for a little bit too. But I remember The Right being pretty decent. But you're right, Tyler. There is like 3 or 4 like more possession movies coming out soon. One of which stars Russell fucking Crowe.
Mhm.
And I think it's called The Pope's Exorcist.
I can't remember what it's called, but I just was this a preview for this movie?
I'm pretty
Is
sure
that
it
where I saw
was. Yeah. Hold on. I want to say it's The Pope's Exorcist. It is. It is The Pope's Exorcist. This movie looks awesome. And by awesome, I mean insane. But awesome. I think Russell Crowe got paid a fat paycheck, and I think he is chewing scenery, and I'm in.
Facts.
Yeah, it looked pretty interesting. Pretty.
Yeah, and it looks like a good bit of animation went into it too. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited for it.
I don't know. Exorcism movies are always ones that can like, as a kid, they're some of the ones that just scared the absolute shit out of me. Like I found them so scary. But then as I got older, it was definitely one of the ones that you just like, the tropes are so defined and so kind of like,
Yeah.
just where you are in the process every time with exorcism movies. That I think they kind of they wear thin real quickly. And plus, like, you're just never gonna be the exorcist. Like, job done pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's at least interesting. It's one that I'm always excited to go back to, or a little subgenre. I'm always excited to go back to.
I would agree.
Yeah, I haven't caught any of those in a while. I'm trying to think of the last one. There's one that came out, and it reminds me so much of the video game, The Eagle with, or excuse me, it reminds me so much of Condemned. Have you ever played the Condemned video games, like Condemned 2 Bloodshot?
No, I can't say
and
that I
Condemned
have.
Origins? No? Oh my god, there's one, it reminds me so much of that. It came out maybe 2010, 9. Let me see if I can find it.
Ooh, I like this deep cut horror movies with Blake.
Yeah.
Which actually, this kind of leads into what we're watching, but also kind of like a general lamentation of mine recently. One of which, before I get into this, I had another grievance I just wanted to air, which is overall, I think we're getting dumber. And the reason I had this, and this is, I don't know. Do you guys, either of you read Barstool?
Not
a little
religiously.
bit. Before we go off on this tangent, I found
Yes.
a movie. It's called Deliver Us from Evil.
Oh, is
2014.
that Scott Derrickson?
It's Scott. Yeah, it is Scott Derrickson.
Okay, I've thought about this, and it popped up recently in my Twitter feed again. I never saw that movie, but I did want to see it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good? It's kind of like a crime movie, right?
Yeah, so it reminds me of the Condemned video games, like Xbox 360 titles.
Okay.
But basically, with those in those games, you are a police detective, or and you're trying you're put on this weird crime, and you start to realize it has like a supernatural element to the crime.
Sure.
And you're still asked to solve it, but it gets really weird, where you're running into entities and things of that nature. But it was pretty much like that. So I was actually cool with it. Because it took me back a straight time capsule to 2006. But yeah, it's actually not that bad. Unfortunately, I probably can't really tell you too much about it because I don't really remember. I've only seen it once, so maybe a catch-22 on how good the film is.
Fair enough. Yeah, he kind of does. I don't know. Scott Derrickson weirdly has a sort of crime and horror subgenre mix going for himself here with his Exorcism of Emily Rose, which in a lot of ways is a courtroom drama mixed with a horror movie. And then you have, your Sinisters, which is true crime mixed with horror movies, excuse me. And then, your Deliver Us from Evil, which is also part of that as well too. It seems like he very much kind of tends to play in that realm a little bit between those two. But where was I going with this? And where were we going back to? I said before we get off this tangent, people being dumber. People are being dumber, folks. And I realized this week from Barstool. And I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Barstool was that at the store last Saturday? Was that a pre-pod?
I don't know. I think it was. It might have been pre-pod. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
I might ask Adam to edit this point as well too. Might just move on to it because I don't really want to even talk about it or get into it at this point. It's dumb.
Moment's over.
Yeah, moment's over, exactly. There was something I was going to talk about with movies, though, before I wanted to get into what we've been watching. I remember. I remember now.
Oh,
before we were getting into what we were watching. So that actually brings me back to what I was thinking about earlier, which was, so now that we're in the age of content all the time, and you don't have the cable hookup or even a satellite hookup or whatever, before, we don't have where you get up on a Saturday morning and you just turn on the TV and channel surf, or or go to the guide and just kind of go through it and pick something to watch. And that's how you used to discover a lot of movies, right? That's how you used to just come across different things every now and then. Or maybe you'd just be flipping through the channels and then all of a sudden you see an actor you recognize, and then you stay on there for an extra 5 minutes or something like that. And now that we're in the age of streaming and different streaming networks, basically, you have to cycle through everything, and that just kind of sucks nowadays. I kind of miss just waking up and having something on the screen ready to go at any given time. And because I don't have that, I just picked a movie this weekend for what we're watching, which is I'll just, I guess, tie into this a little bit, which was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I guess harkens back to a bit of a time when there was just things on TV and everyone got around in that. But I don't know. Someone want to help me out here and talk about any point of what I've just talked about for the last 5 minutes here as a tangent? No. Does anyone else miss? Does anyone else miss channel surfing or anything like that, or just like waking up on a Saturday morning and just kind of like picking something to have on TV, or getting into a movie that was already 15 minutes into it or something like that?
Yes, I would answer that with 100% yes. I think the problem I run into streaming, as well as most people, is just finding something to watch.
Yes.
Where when I'm watching cable, which is hardly because I don't have cable here. Anytime I'm traveling, working, I'm in a hotel, right? They'll have cable there, and it's so much easier for me to find something. Like I can find something to watch within probably like 5 minutes of turning the TV on,
Right.
and I was like, flip, 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 and it's like, oh,
this is
Gone Girl is an hour and a half into it. I'm totally that, and I'll just pick up to where it's at and finish the movie.
Okay, so that is kind of easier, right? Like it is
Absolutely.
just there's a certain element of that misses now, that like, because like there's certain nights where like I wouldn't mind watching Gone Girl, but I don't want to watch a 2-hour and 20-minute movie.
Exactly.
And I don't feel like committing, and like I feel like it's a sin to stop halfway through a movie still. Like maybe I just need to get over that portion in my life.
I think that's part of being just like a film nerd, though.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm like that too. Like I can't start Gone Girl at this time of day, right? Because I'm not going to be able to finish it,
right?
Or I don't want to commit to it.
But if I found it in the last 45 minutes, like I'll stay up to finish that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it harkens back to kind of like that ultimate film test for me, which is like, if I woke up in a movie theater with it on and I'm 30 minutes into it, would I stay to finish out the rest of the movie? Yes or no? And that's like the ultimate decider for me if I can recommend a movie or not.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, I guess that's just the channel surfing movie test in some ways too.
Yeah.
But anyways, so long story short, and I'll reiterate, I was looking for something like that to watch this weekend because my brother was in town, and I needed a movie to just throw on that was, I knew was going to be quality, but would not bring a lot of contention, but would be easy to talk about afterwards. So yeah. I picked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and always a fun one to go back to. I think I may have picked it as well too because Tarantino's been in the news recently this week and saying that he's going to do one more movie and then retire. He's going to be done after that, and it may be a sort of weird biopic about Pauline Kael, who's kind of like the most famous movie critic in the world, or in history, I should say, not the world. I believe she is. I believe she's passed. But yeah, that would be very interesting overall. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, great movie. I think maybe a little underrated now. Kind of feels like it came out 10 years ago, but it really only came out in 2019. And I think that's,
Is
just
that really 2019?
2019.
Wow, I would have guessed maybe 16.
That's pretty crazy.
Or so.
Yeah, and that's just I think that's a result of pandemic. I think like anything pre-2020 just feels, an extra 3 years earlier in some ways. So yeah, that was one thing I got to this week for what I've been watching. And really the only other thing I got to was Bungo Stray Dogs, which I've talked about I think the last 2 weeks in a row maybe. But I finished 2 whole seasons of that. For those of you who maybe have not been listening, it is an anime. It is about a private detective agency. Brandon Wozny, who my roommate likes to describe it as better X-Men, because it's just kind of people who all have a certain random ability, but are not burdened by going to high school. They are already out in the workforce and are working for this private detective agency. I got through 2 more seasons, and they had a full movie that I got through, and both were really fun and a pretty good watch, I would say. Kind of scratches that I don't know, a little bit Tarantino-esque, I guess, itch in some ways, where it's kind of an action with a wink, in some ways are a little bit meta, a little bit PG-13. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's got, let's say it's got a stylistic flair to it as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, can recommend, and that's really been the only thing I've been watching, to be honest with you. Other than that, it's just been a lot of work. But Tyler, what about you? Have you been watching anything?
Work.
I got to the F1 Grand Prix, which you also watched, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
So tell me about
what a
that.
race. Red Bull and their rocket ships.
Yeah, man. They're real good. But Alonso,
it's great.
He can
love
win.
Seeing him up there.
I would love. How many races are there?
20-something.
All right, yeah. So I'd like him to go 20-something for 20-something in P3s. Let's just set a new record here. Let's get
most
him
P3s in a season.
Yeah, let him rack it up. He already hit what he said, 100 podiums.
Correct.
This
that
weekend.
was his last race.
And yeah, let's just set a streak. Let's go out on top here. I mean, realistically, if he came in P3 in every race and like P1, P2, just kind of like were a little bit random, there's a chance he could end up.
It's a fuck ton of points, man.
Yeah, like he could do real well there.
The fact that he's already basically soloing Aston Martin to the top of the Constructors' Cup
insane, right?
Is fucking awesome.
I mean, at the same time, fuck Aston Martin, but also go Alonso.
Yeah, I just want to punch the shit out of Stroll.
Both dad and son too. That which was
100%.
an interesting thing posed, I think, by my good friend of the podcast, Joe Sortino. He's decided that he's not anti Lance Stroll. He just hates his dad. Which I think is a hot take, but I can kind of understand as well too. Like, he's definitely the more annoying of the two of them.
Sure.
He's the more deeply evil, it seems. Lance is just, a young dickhead.
Yeah, he's been morphed into that.
Right. Right.
There was at least some hope for him, and it's ruined because his dad's just like the dick of dicks.
His dad can buy him an F1 team if he wants to, which is just an insane sentence for anyone to be able to live through.
Agreed. So yeah, we got around to the Grand Prix, which was great. So
how do you feel about Sergio winning that one?
I love Sergio, bro. Anytime he gets the chance to get on the podium or even hit a first, I'm all for it.
You feel like
I'm
Max
a big Checo fan.
could have won that one though?
Do I feel like Max could have?
Yeah.
I think with a couple more, if you had probably like 10 more laps for sure.
You think?
His pace is just fucking stupid.
It's really weird, isn't it?
I mean, they technically drive the same car. Obviously, there's different setups for what they like, and they test different things on different cars.
Right.
But his pace is just fucking insane.
It's very strange. It's very strange, his seeming ability. It's like he just has a different setup than everyone else, or a different line than everyone else in some ways.
I was gonna say there's a lot of things that drivers pick up along the way, and obviously they drive a lot of these circuits kind of year after year, and not only do they drive it in Formula 1, they drive it in Formula 3 and Formula 2, and so yeah, everybody kind of has their own different lines that they like to take through turns. Everybody kind of finds their apex differently, and so yeah, it's very wild how that kind of stuff plays into the small tenths of a second that kind of factor into someone's pace. And another thing is his ability to keep his laps consistent.
Yeah.
When you can build on that and you know that you can run basically the same lap every single time, it's fucking wild. And he's an insane human being.
It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting to see where the challenges come from. That's It's what I want out of when you got a dominant champion like that. You gotta get creative. Gotta have some different ideas.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it's great.
Blake,
so yeah,
we're gonna,
long season though ahead of us.
Blake, we're gonna make both an F1 and a UFC fan out of you yet. Don't worry. That's my ultimate goal.
The UFC is more likely. I'm already I wouldn't say I'm a fan of boxing, but I do follow it a little bit. So I'm already kind of on board for combat sports. F1, I haven't quite gotten. I've not quite gotten there.
So good. But yeah, it was a good race. Couple of the other things I got around to. You said it earlier, which I thought was pretty funny, Blake. I did get around to Pitch Black.
Oh yeah.
I also got around to Riddick.
Okay. Is that
Justin?
Is that the second one?
Chronicles is technically.
Yeah, I think it goes Pitch Black, Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick.
No, okay. I think that's reversed. I think it's Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and then Riddick technically.
Oh, okay. Either way, I know it's a weird order.
Okay.
I actually have it on my Voodoo right here. Let me see if I can go back and. But yeah,
Justin and Foley came over on Friday night to kind of just hang out, and we haven't seen each other in quite some time, so they both came over, and we were like, "What's a movie we can just like put on in the background, but still probably like it's still halfway decent, but we can also still like kind of make fun of it." And Riddick came up, and we were like, "Oh, perfect! This is perfect." So
yeah, it's you're right. Then it's Pitch Black 2000. Chronicles of Riddick 2004, and Riddick is actually 2013.
Weird.
9 years later. I remember Chronicles of Riddick being one of the movies that made me start paying attention to movie reviews, because it was one of the things when I figured out that they put movie reviews in the Friday newspaper.
Interesting.
And I remember like coming downstairs or something, and like my dad, I guess, would have had the newspaper out, and it would have been a Friday, and they'd put it on there, and it just said, "It's ridiculous." And then they had given it 2 stars. And I was just like, what is this? As like a news title. And then like I guess my dad told me that that's where movie reviews came from, or were a thing, I guess, because up to that point it was just like, I see every movie, and movies are great, and movies don't have a quantitative, value, and and that was it. Yeah, but yeah. Chronicles of Riddick was the first time I started paying attention to movie reviews. There you go.
Yeah. Looking at the cast of Riddick, the 2013, did you guys know Dave Bautista's in this fucking movie?
I did not. Is it like Judi Dench in that movie or something?
But like,
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah, I was like, having not seen this in a while, probably 10 years.
Because I saw him in there, and I was like, now I want to watch Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Fucking Batista.
Yeah. Did you get to anything else?
Yeah, so obviously you guys know I've been playing a lot of Hogwarts, and I just can't put it down. So they're all on Peacock, and I'm one of the only people that has Peacock. So
there you go.
I ended up watching the first and second one, so I will probably end up getting around to the rest at some point. I did get around to some more My Hero. I am caught up on season 6. Is that all I have?
Where does it end?
I don't remember.
Okay, that doesn't help me.
I'm sorry.
I think there may be more. Were you watching? Okay. Are you watching on Funimation?
What am I watching on? I started on Hulu, and then I went to Crunchyroll.
Okay, I want to say in Funimation there may be more, but
I'll
I don't know.
Check. I think, is it you or Waz that has Funimation?
Waz does.
I think I have Waz's. Either way, I'll get around to it. So I'm done with season 6, and then we finished The Last of Us. That was the last episode for the first season. which is great. I can't get enough of Pedro Pascal, so much that I also am watching Mando, and I also watched episode 3, and then I will probably get around to episode 4 tomorrow because it came out tonight.
There you go.
Is he the lead in those in that TV series?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, he's the lead in Last of Us, and he's the lead in Mandalorian.
Huh. Yeah, I had no idea.
So
I assume you're not this far in love with Pedro Pascal because you're not going to go watch Wonder Woman 1984, are you?
No, movie's trash. There is a movie on, I think, Hulu that I saw. It's either Hulu or HBO Max, where it's like him and somebody else, and it's from like a couple of years ago. And I was like, how the fuck did I miss this?
Really? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
check it out.
it's like a sci-fi thriller kind of movie, and he's like the bad guy. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I was like, I gotta watch this. So I'll probably try and get around to that at some point. But other than that, that's all I got around to. So Blake, what'd you get up?
Not much, man. Still working a ton, trying to get through a project I got to finish up. Honestly, I've just been watching sports. The tournament. Don't watch a ton of college basketball, but I made a bracket for work last week.
Nice.
And this is with everybody in the finance department there. So honestly, fellas, I was rolling strong. Like 3 days in, I was in first place. And now I'm in like 42nd place. So
oh boy,
started strong. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I actually may win this thing. And sure enough, life humbles you that fast.
Arizona.
So, I did have Arizona going decently far, not to the championship. So I still have a chance to win. My champion is still in the tournament. But yeah, Arizona killed me.
Yeah, that'll do
shout
it.
out to you as well. That was probably one of the reasons. I know they're traditionally a good basketball school, but then I was like, well, Nathaniel's also from Arizona.
Sorry. I heard ASU is also in the tournament though, but they might be gone by now.
I think so.
I would imagine they are, but yeah.
I think they lost pretty early.
There was a weird Arizona basketball resurgence. There you go.
Yeah. But outside of that, nothing else. Honestly, I did watch Gone Girl though, so that's the only thing.
You go.
That's why I kind of use that as a reference point. But I've seen that countless times, so I wouldn't say it was kind of a background noise type of film. I did sit there and watch it attentively, just because. Is that Rosamund Pike?
It is. Have you seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
Go ahead.
Sorry, have you seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
I have.
It's interesting.
Is she in that?
No, but same director. It's both Fincher.
Oh, I was gonna say. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I didn't think that was her by any means.
No.
Okay,
I guess like in my mind, it's like the two like he did 2 stories and then or 2 books
those are books.
Yeah, 2 movies that are books that are both like crime books, I guess, like back to back kind of thing. And I think of the 2, I've seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo so many more times than I've seen Gone Girl. I was curious where you would stand on that.
I've definitely seen Gone Girl more than I've seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
For sure.
I've probably seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo maybe twice. Fun fact, though, I did see that in theaters with my dad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a movie that, like, famously is A, underrated, and B, is, like, made no money because it came out at, like, Christmas time in 2020 or 2011 or whatever that was.
Yeah, it sounds right. But yeah, I should try to rewatch that though. Honestly, I haven't seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo probably since maybe like 2015 or so.
For sure.
You know, it's been a while. I should try to get back to it.
Well, is that everyone, boys?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
All right. You know, boys, we didn't do names this week. You
did not.
If we were doing 65 names, well, Blake would be maybe Big Rocket Blake.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be Big Rocket, Big Dinosaur.
Big Dinosaur.
I can't wait to talk about this film, fellas.
And then we'll go with maybe Twist Tyler Vidalis, and all will be not as good Jurassic Park Nathaniel, or not as good as Jurassic Park Nathaniel. Yeah, if you haven't heard, folks, we're doing 65 this week for our review segment. And if you haven't heard back Row Banter before, the way our review segment works is it is broken down into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself. We'll go over its IMDb page, who is in it, who wrote it, who directed it, its summary. We'll go around the squadron. Tonight it's just it's a tripod, but we'll decide if we recommend this movie. It has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And then there'll be the spoiler section. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, don't worry about it, because Adam is going to put it in the show notes of when we are spoiling it and when we're not. And if you have seen the movie, we're going to go into our deeper thoughts. We're going to go into any big plot twists or anything like that, and decide what we feel about the movie overall. And then even if you don't have it spoiled for you, though, do come back where we will rank the movie up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast, ranked all together. So, with that being said, let's talk about 65, which I guess normally I would pitch to Adam here, but we don't have Adam this week, as I've said. He's off celebrating with his family. So, I guess I'll tell you about 65.
Do we need the IMDb summary?
Yeah.
We need, man?
Yeah. Do you want to? You got it pulled up there, Blake? You want to read it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
All right.
Pull this thing up.
This is 65. It's directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It is also written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Folks may know them, I believe, as writers on one of the Quiet Places, if not both of them. Yeah, that's how they've been being advertised. It's not a huge cast. It's starring Adam Driver as like the main character, as well as Ariana Greenblatt, Chloe. Yeah, Chloe. I saw Koa, and that really threw me off there.
Yeah.
Chloe Coleman and Nika King are going to be your main cast members. But Blake, you got that summary pulled up there?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me about it.
65, as Nathaniel stated earlier, an astronaut crash lands on a mysterious planet, only to discover he's not alone.
How do you feel about that summary?
I mean,
see, I don't mind that. I don't mind that, because we got all right. So a huge part of this movie is going to be how much you know when, right? And I feel like we got to address this early on with this movie itself and kind of its whole overall premise, because I don't mind that summary, because it still leaves a lot to the imagination and in kind of what this plot is about. How do you feel, Blake?
Ooh. Is this pre-spoilers, or are we just like totally talking about this film?
No, we're pre-spoilers still. We're still pre-spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So general thoughts. I mean, overall, I would say, like, I didn't get to go into this movie blind. Did you get to go into this movie blind?
For the most part, yes. I knew what it kind of consisted of because I had to ask you all what it was about.
Okay.
On the kind of some post-pod, I think, from the other week. So I had an idea.
But you didn't see a trailer or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Didn't see a trailer. Didn't even know who it was written by. So pre-spoiler thoughts. I mean, I didn't have high expectations. I would say this film did not exceed those.
Okay.
For various reasons, but I mean, it's a popcorn movie, man. It's an hour and 32 minutes or something like that. Like, you're supposed to go in there, sit down, turn your brain off for an hour and a half. You don't really have to try to connect any dots. There's like brief background on the two characters we're looking at the entire film. Actually, only on one of them. The other character, we don't really have any background. In fact, she doesn't even speak that much. So it's it's okay. Non-binary recommendations, I'd probably pass on it.
Yeah. Tyler, you were very excited. You wanted to do this before you wanted to do Scream 6 because they were both released the same weekend. We did not do Shazam 2. Behind the little peek behind the curtain, we did 65 instead. But Tyler, were your expectations rewarded? What was your film viewing experience like? Talk to me.
I was pretty much alone.
Okay.
Which is cool. It's pretty much what I prefer anyways.
For sure.
I really didn't mind it. It's definitely a decent little, just kind of like popcorn movie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't exceed my expectations by any means, but I also don't know if I really knew it was going to.
Yep.
So yeah, this was pretty much what I expected it to be, which was okay. It's nothing special. It's not like the best movie in the world. I will say you can probably pass on it. Just for the sole fact that this is you'll probably get the same level of enjoyment from home that you would from in the theater.
Sure.
So,
Boy.
What about you?
This is only in theaters, though, correct?
Yeah, it is currently in theaters. I believe only. I don't think you can get it somewhere else. If I'm not mistaken, this is released by Sony, but I could be wrong off that. I'm entirely basing that
it is Sony.
Off my memory and not actually anything else, which I refuse to look up. So yeah, I did not like this movie. I'm gonna say it. Which is interesting. I think I'm on the record on the pod maybe the last couple weeks where I said I don't know if non-Jurassic Park movies can really do dinosaurs, and I still don't know that they can. To be honest with you, I really feel I'll maybe go into a little bit more in spoilers, but I found the dinosaurs, which were a huge selling point of this movie, to be pretty underwhelming, and I found this movie to be, if you even watched a slightest bit of the trailers, it kind of ruined the novelty of the movie and the premise, which then ruined a lot of the movie for me. I saw someone on Twitter say that it would have worked a million times better as just a Twilight Zone episode that you didn't know anything about before it was just presented to you. And I think I kind of agree with that in a lot of ways. I wish it was just something that someone was like, hey, Nathaniel, check this out. And I just kind of went into it that way rather than having a trailer and even the title sequence and all of that kind of thing. Which, that being said, is pretty unique in some ways. So there is that part of it. But yeah, I think performance-wise, Adam Driver, he's great. He's doing what he can with what he's got. I think the rest of the cast does a pretty serviceable job. Excuse me. I think effects wise, it's pretty good overall. I think there's some directing things that I really want to talk about in spoilers, but yeah, this is going to be not a recommend from me overall as well too. Sorry. Just to get at the heart of it. I feel like I can talk about this movie a lot as well too, though. I feel like I have some things to say. With that being said, I think we've all talked about it at this point. We are 3 not recommends, which is fun for the podcast. I would be interested to see what Adam would have said. Obviously, without Adam here, this is not going up on the Entropy list. But I would have been intrigued to hear his overall thoughts as well too. But with that being said, we are going to head into the spoiler section. So if you do not want to have anything spoiled for you, now's the time to bounce. But like I said, check the show notes and see where it gets ranked up on our Entropy list, and hear the rest of the podcast. So now's your time. If you want to bail, see you later. We miss you. We love you. And spoilers. Shit goes down, as we are fond of saying
Shit goes awry
on the Back Row Banter podcast. Yeah, so oh boys. He's an alien.
Where to start?
Yeah, so like right, okay, so there's Adam Driver, right? You get the brief background of him, his wife, spouse, whatever term you can put on the child they have. The child is sick with some form of illness. Don't quite know what that is. He is then tasked to, and this is what kind of lost me. He was tasked to go to another planet. Isn't it to like save the human population?
No.
Is it to get some type of cure for?
No, he's like a trucker. He's basically he's piloting the ship for triple the rate for 2 years so that he can pay for his daughter's medication, supposedly.
Gotcha. Okay, I got you.
And then, spoiler alert, she dies while he's on the way out there. And now they've reached the halfway point and are on their way back when they get hit by an asteroid and crash land on Earth 65 million years ago. And that's the premise, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we?
So, what's annoying is from the trailers, you already knew that it was set 65 million years ago. From that and the title 65. But
see, now having and sorry to cut you off.
No,
having
you're good.
Not seen the trailers, I didn't quite put that together until I seen the comments.
Right.
Rocket, whatever term you want to put on. Then I'm like, oh, he's just on Earth 65 million years ago, and that's why it's called 65. I had that like very stupid epiphany.
Yeah. Because I think it says in there, it says like 65 million years ago, the Earth had a traveler or whatever, and then it fades out.
Yeah.
And then it
That's
says 65. So like in the trailer, it just says 65, or it says 65, and then it says 65 million years ago. And then if you're have half a brain and are paying attention to the trailer, it's Adam Driver is now back there and fighting these dinosaurs. So it's either time travel or he's visiting from somewhere else, kind of thing. And that's, spoiler alert, what they go with. That that there is an alien race that is humanoid that is traveling through the universe, that, as Weekly Planet podcast pointed out, is from a planet without universal health care. So even in our sci-fi fantasies, we can't have universal health care. We have to pay for it somehow. Anyways, and yeah, Adam Driver has to truck these people across space to, I guess, populate somewhere else. But they crash land on Earth in the time of the dinosaurs, which, if you didn't know what a dinosaur was and you had no idea what anything to do with Earth was, and you landed on our planet and they were out there, you would be justifiably terrified by anything going on there. But that is such a huge concept to have your audience try and buy into, that you are going to have them in a place where they are experiencing Earth and dinosaurs for the first time, it's just a huge ask, and it is not set up properly to do in this movie. Like, this movie would be 10 times better if you had nothing to do with the prologue and you just started with him waking up from the crash on Earth and you didn't know anything else that was going on there, and you got the rest of it in flashback as you went out. Like,
I mean, yeah, that would probably help the movie. I don't think it would salvage it.
no, I don't. There's so much of this movie that just happens because
Yeah.
it needs to.
Yeah. For starters, for dinosaurs being such a large part of this film, well, I guess to go back, right? This is basically the Turok film that any like childhood N64 1990s kid ever played. This is a Turok film we never got, for
Right.
sure. Not the greatest film, but like I can admire it from that aspect. As far as the dinosaurs, though, like the dinosaurs in this fucking suck. They're not even like modeled after like
Yeah. So that is
dinosaurs that we know. It's so
that's-
fucking frustrating.
That's one thing I definitely
can't
wanted
believe
to talk about, was that the dinosaurs are just dog shit and they all move like dogs.
I don't know what they were thinking. Honestly, it's terrible.
It's kind of annoying, isn't it?
Terrible to make a dinosaur movie and not
they
throw
have
human
a.
scenarios.
I think they have a pretty good kind of like horror element to them. They definitely made them scary, but yeah, I think they maybe missed the mark a little bit.
They don't read as dinosaurs to me. They read as lizards that move like dogs.
Yeah, they read like
Sure. Until
yeah.
you get to like the actual like 2 T-Rexes.
I mean, yeah, those are T-Rexes, but like they're
But then
T-Rexes.
the bigger one is like a salamander.
And then they've got the weird blind one, which, I mean, quite honestly, that's like the only thing they did better in Jurassic World Dominion was the weird blind salad fingers one, which I was just like, well, that kind of sucks. You got, pipped by the classic there, like that was, again, the only good thing about Dominion. But yeah, the dinosaurs sucked in this dinosaur movie, which is just kind of like unforgivable in my opinion. I think this movie looked really cheap in a lot of areas. Like, it just, man, this did not add up for me into really anything.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. My biggest, I think from a storytelling perspective, like I alluded to earlier, it's a huge ask to go along with your audience where your protagonist is an alien species. That's just crazy headspace to put yourself in to begin with, and then to place them on Earth 65 million years ago. It's really a weird spot. And then, like, I mean, he like pulls up the worst set of binoculars in the world, and
the design of that.
Oh god, that irritated the fuck
not
out of me. I mean,
good at all.
it was one of those things where it was like, okay, yes, we have this humanoid species that is us in essence, and yet anything that they have that's supposed to be super high tech is not designed for humans, or like. It just would be similar to what we have because they are similar to us, kind of thing,
The other, I mean, like the funny thing too is like us being in the mindset that we constantly are when we watch movies, we look for the little details.
Rich, is exactly right. Like, that is the thing. Like, I'm willing to forgive a ton of that.
100%.
I'm willing to go along with a lot of that. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, Waz told me earlier this week, he was like, well, I don't think you would have enjoyed Shazam 2 or something because of X and X, and like, you think too much about the writing side of things. And I'm like, hold on, man, I want to defend myself. I'm a populist. Yeah, I'm a populist.
Yeah.
I wanna be here. But then the alien tech told me that the thing was 10 kilometers away. And that was really when I just went, hold the fucking phone. Like,
why was it that did it for you?
Just how the fuck is this alien tech gonna 65 million years ago is gonna use kilometers as a unit of measurement? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? If he was like, it's 3 blingons away, cool.
Yeah, clicks. You even clicks. I'll give you that.
Fine, sure. Like you know, a day's hike. You'll be there in when the sun is below the surface. You'll be there by nightfall. Something.
Sure.
But just the fact that 12 kilometers, I just went, all right, my suspension of disbelief has just been cleanly sheared. Like, weirdly, I would have been more okay if they said miles, because then it's not the metric system, which weirdly, because I'm American, feels more new. Feels like it's 20th century bullshit. Like, it was just the fact that it was kilometers. Just, it really took me out of it. And
grinds
then
my fucking gears.
It grinds my gears. And then from then on, I was just watching things, and I was just like, this is just a lot of movie just happening. And I think kilometers might have been the thing that pulled me out of it the most, but the thing that I found most like kind of unforgivable was the cave sequence, which is actually a really good sequence in terms of tension and kind of problem solving and third act setup in terms of things looking darkest for our characters and that kind of thing. But then literally both characters who were falling, which we haven't even really talked about much. Adam Driver is dad. He's playing the Mandalorian without the mask, and he's guiding this girl who doesn't speak his language, and they're trying to get back to a ship so that they can go home to their alien planet. And it's dinosaur times and a comet's coming to destroy the dinosaurs, which is very unnecessary. But anyways, they're getting out of the cave, which has been this great tense sequence, and everything seems lost. And then he just goes in a different direction after there has been a cave-in between the two of them, and then just appears outside. And then a scene later, she also appears outside after you think she could have been crushed. We have never seen her on the other side of it. We've never seen her been separated from the Adam Driver character at this point. I thought it was a very emotional part of the movie where it zigged in a direction I didn't expect it to and separated these two characters. And then both of them are just outside and it's fine again, because that's what needs to happen in the movie to go on to the next scene. And there's no resolution. There's no real like thought behind it at all. It's just what needs to happen next. And that's like the most distilled moment of this movie for me, and why I genuinely hate it. Tyler, talk to me, because again, you were so hyped in some ways. I want to hear more of your thoughts on it, and I'm going to shut up for a bit.
Yeah. You know, I think I was excited for it because it's something that's new and it's Adam Driver, so
that's
I have
awesome.
high hopes there.
Yeah, I feel
you. Same kind of quality as well, not quality, but you thought you were gonna get the same quality as A Quiet Place. And like I stated before, you know, when you come from I think A Quiet Place is fucking so good. And I know I'd get pushback on that, but when you really look at that movie, it's fucking awesome.
Sure.
No, I'm with you.
And
it's a great debut nonetheless. Like, it announces them with some presence.
And it was new. That had not been done as a concept before. And so when you get something again that's kind of like a new IP, you're very excited for it. And, you know, I think they fell a little short. I didn't think they built suspense as much as they probably could have. Because, you know, you're on a world that you've never seen before. And there's fucking creatures walking around that are dinosaurs, there could be some really cool shit your pants moments that you could kind of create here, and I think they definitely missed the mark for sure. For me, my small little detail, that I kind of had to laugh about was just
Sure.
like, you fucking idiots. Was immediately after the crash, he thinks everyone's dead, and he finds that fucking thing in his side, that piece of metal,
and then they never come back to it.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like you could obviously tell that it's bothering him, but like it's funny because you would think that they would have some kind of like a much better like first aid kit than like a cryo spray that he just fucking sprays, and then it's clearly infected.
Yeah. Which it comes back later and then it's just never brought up again. He's just like, I'm a little tired.
It's just annoying. Yeah. And so that was like the thing that kind of really bothered me a lot, because it was like I'm cool with the cryo spray or something like that, but you think that there would be some kind of like futuristic looking fucking first aid kit, not like him fucking scavenge around in like the junk drawer where there's probably like a stapler and some fucking rubber bands, and then he's like, oh fuck, this is what I was looking for.
And man, that's
so
just
crazy enough. What I thought he was gonna pull out was some sort of stapler and fucking staple it closed.
Sure. That's what I thought he was
reading.
Yeah, 100%. Or like some kind of fucking like little laser pen that at least like fucking cauterize it fucking shut or some shit.
Okay, and so that's where I feel like this is a great example of a movie that is like just a collection of ideas and not an actual like dramatic film, like not a something that has a rising falling action and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like you can see someone be like, hey, so what if a guy came to Earth 65 million years ago and he encountered dinosaurs, and they're like, all right, so here's what would happen. Bang, bang, bang. And what about first aid kit? Well, no, you'd have a spray kit, and like he'd be able to take care of that. Oh, okay, cool. So what about his gun? Well, it'd be this, but like, it's some sort of sonic blaster that blows someone up. Oh, okay, cool. But what about when they're sleeping? Well, he's got this weird little ring system that is 2 inches around from him. So if he rolls over on it, it blows off his foot. But if anything comes close to him, don't worry, it'll be 6 inches away from him before it, alerts him that anything happens. Like,
and like, what did he use the antenna for? Like,
nothing.
What did it do to her? Is it like
nothing?
I thought he was like, I was like, is he gonna break it and use it as like a tongue prod? Like, what did he do?
Oh, okay. So that was the other thing. All right. So she gets a crazy bug down her throat that I think is eating her tongue or some shit like that. And he removes the magic crystal off the 65 million year old Ring doorbell system and zaps it, right? And then it blows up. And then no one addresses it or like, does she got crazy bug juice in her mouth? Is she missing a tongue? Like that, they've zoomed in on it. They like cut to it, and it has like replaced her tongue. What is happening? Where did it come from? Like, it clearly didn't it got past the ring system, and no one cares. Like,
so there actually are parasites that actually they basically take over like a fish.
Yeah, I've seen the bay.
Like their mouth or like their tongue, and they essentially eat all the food that the fish is eating instead of the food or the nutrients getting to the fish. So I'm assuming that's kind of where that was going as far as a premise, but it was just fucking terrible.
Which
fucking terrible.
Brings me to another point of this movie that I think, which is just going to be me complaining about this movie, but just fucking buckle up, folks. This movie has a serious issue with tone and what type of movie it wants to be and where the line is going to be on this movie, which fucking changes scene to scene. Where you have like one scene where the girl is picking out a beautiful flower for Adam Driver's character, and like he's having proud dad moments, and then the next scene they're rescuing a baby dinosaur which is immediately eaten alive in a very harsh, like nature is metal, like Instagram sort of like here's reality, bitch moment. And then you've got
the moment they just sorry to cut you off. The
No, you're
moment
good.
they went to save that baby dinosaur, I was like, that thing is about to die in the next fucking 5 minutes.
Right, like
For sure.
it's so tonal whiplash back and forth between two of those things. And then it's like the very like the where were we going with this? Which kicked off my train of thought with this. The last scene that we were talking about ahead of before the dinosaur that was eaten from the tar pits. Oh, the
parasite.
Yeah, the parasite on the tongue. Just like feels straight out of a like just straight out of like an Eli Roth like horror movie. Like check out the
sure.
check out
very sci-fi.
network. Yeah. Check out The Bay, folks. It found footage movie from like 2013. Very similar. Check it out. It's actually really good. Anyways, like this movie just crosses back and forth between those two lines so often. It doesn't know what it wants to be. Where I think A Quiet Place is very strongly rooted in this idea of family and the family unit, dealing with a insane situation. Here we have this dad that is essentially just by himself and with the adopted daughter and figuring it out, I suppose. I don't know. It just did not hit that emotional level anywhere close to A Quiet
I really
Place.
wanted to see them like get back to Earth too. I didn't overall care for how it kind of ended.
Oh,
So
you wanted
I
I thought it was a little too abrupt kind of thing.
Yeah, I almost kind of wanted to see what like the reunion between him and his wife, who they had clearly lost their daughter.
Right.
I kind of wanted to see that like emotional aspect of it.
I'm with you. I think you're right there. I thought the kind of final the climax of the movie was a little bit weird. I thought they were like I think they said it's 14 kilometers away, which I was like, that's 9 miles. That shouldn't take you 3 days. I don't know. Even if you're going with a kid, again, it felt weird. I'm glad they got away. I genuinely, I think Adam Driver is doing a lot with a little here. I think he's overall doing great. I think the girl is I just keep calling her the girl. I'm sorry. I should actually like reference her thing. Koa. Yeah, Koa. Which Adam Driver screaming Koa just sounds like him screaming cola to me in a lot of ways too. And it just sounds like some sort of Coke commercial. Ariana Greenblatt, I think she does a great job as well too. She's really great as X-23 in Logan. I just
Is that who that is?
No, it's not, but it's the same story. But yeah, I think she does a nice job as well too. It's just a movie I think that you pull any sort of thread and it falls apart. So anyways, I'm done talking about it. Is anyone else done talking about it? Have I kicked this enough? Have I talked too much?
Yeah, I don't know if Blake has any kind of last minute thoughts, but yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess it was cool that Adam Driver is a good actor. So to be clear on that, I mean, so I'm curious to know like what was his mindset going into this film. Like in all honesty, just obviously seeing what was being relayed, right? The shooting and whatnot. I'm curious how he kind of thought of that, as well as I'm genuinely curious like how this is going to do at the box office. As I was sitting there, I'm like, there's no way this thing makes it 3 weeks in theater.
Oh, I think it will for a little bit. I just don't think it costs very much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine, which is rather unfortunate.
I think they just do 6-week runs, at least initially, Blake. Which maybe
Okay.
Waz, if he's listening to this episode, can write in and tell us specifically. But I think they do 6-week runs initially.
Specifically,
Atlantically too. I'm trying to see how much it cost.
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up, I mean, for it to be so centered around being a dinosaur movie, as I said earlier, that dinosaurs just
There's not that
so
many,
fucking bad,
and
none of them are modeled after real dinosaurs that we're knowledgeable of, right? Based off science.
Besides two that are clearly the T-Rex,
maybe the pterodactyl type things.
Yeah, and the two that are clearly the T-Rex.
Yeah. Well, yeah, outside of that, it was just fucking terrible, man.
How much it cost?
Terrible. I was waiting to see if he was ever going to reload like the plasma gun. Didn't reload it. It did run out of ammo though, but then he just like put in a code and it like worked again.
Yeah, it was different ammo.
Oh, okay.
It was like shotgun ammo instead.
Oh, is that what that was? I didn't catch that either. That he was like actually reloading it there. Okay.
Yeah, it felt like kind of like a rifle beforehand, and then when it was like jammed or out, maybe I think it was like out of assault rifle ammo. So then when he was doing the 2 T-Rexes, because he fucking one shots that one.
Right.
I think
which was mind blowing to me. I'm like, I haven't seen him one shot.
Well, he hits in the eye.
Shooting at the T-Rex the entire time.
Yeah,
he hits in the eye.
I was like, damn,
delicate place.
All right. So I think that was like the shotgun form of it. And then it finally ran out.
Which completely. Was the other thing too, where she puts like 5 of the grenades in the log to blow up the one little compy.
Yeah, like what a waste. I thought that was gonna be like something more. That was pretty fucking stupid. Yeah, she fucking like all 5 of those things, and then it wasn't even as big as like it as like it should have been.
Yeah. I thought.
Oh, speaking of tension though, the cave scene when they're like going through that narrow spot. Descent vibes. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
we gotta go. We gotta get the fuck out of here. That was like the only good part is the cave scene.
Very similarly, we all had a little thought there, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna get. You could see the little dinosaur trying to tickle them from the backside, where they were getting under the cave thing. But then, like I said, they have that cave in, and then who cares? We're both outside within 5 minutes, and we found each other.
Yeah, there's no repercussions for anything that happens in this film.
Disappointing, man. Disappointing.
No.
Except for his daughter dying. That's it.
Yeah, which, like...
Again, I would have liked to have some elaboration.
Which, I want to say, I saw this on film Twitter, too. Like, if you think about it for more than, like, 5 minutes, it's just kind of like... Really? That's like kind of our motivation here. Like it's a little bit lazy to be going with like the dead daughter like backstory in 2023 at this point, right? You could still have her be sick, you could still have her be ill and him have to do it for that reason or anything. Hell, even him, like you said, bringing home this new girl and then having to like kind of like integrate her with his daughter or something, that could be its own kind of an interesting story in and of itself kind of thing. Hey, remember we survived the dinosaur planet, but you've been gone for 2 years and I've been sick the whole time? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about our feelings. I don't know. Yeah. I've been talking too much. Should we rank this guy up on the Entropy list?
We don't have to because Adam's not here.
You're right. Isn't that funny?
If you were to put it on the Entropy list, fellas, talk to me.
I'll be honest with you, Blake. When I walked out of this movie, I might have had it near the bottom. I really did not like this movie. And I think it's because I love Jurassic Park so much, too, that like definitely skews me.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's like that. If you come at the king, you best not miss vibes, and if you do miss, hell to pay. But Yeah, I did not enjoy this one.
Say what? No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much with you, finishing up. This is a movie that was an hour and a half long. Actually, counting down the time to the show's fucking over.
Would you rather watch
So
Dominion or this? Let's make that our
this just because it's significantly shorter. Now, I can't call the runtime of Dominion off the top of my head, but I bet you it's over 225.
it definitely felt longer. I'll tell you that much.
So I don't
I'll be honest.
see.
I think I'd rather watch Dominion for like Sam Neill alone, or like
That's true. This does suck though. Dominion's pretty bad though too. Now
Dominion's
when I
dog
remember
shit.
watching that one, I remember leaving that like,
yeah, like Dominion's so bad. Dominion's so bad that like I don't consider it canon. Like it doesn't exist.
It's hard.
It's not part of the Jurassic Park
It's
universe.
a pretty hard toss-up. But I think with this being new and this being the only one in Jurassic Park, at least having the pedigree that it has, I think I might do Dominion.
I agree. I think Dominion's it's got to be ranked higher than it, but I mean, fuck. Dude.
I mean, at least giant locusts are kind of scary too, right? Like they're weird. At least they're real, unlike this weird dog.
Dominion's
iguana
147, fellas. A long film.
I thought
147 minutes or an hour.
I thought you said it was 147 on the ranking, which I would have believed.
No,
too.
147 minutes. So that was that.
Oh,
yeah. Something like that. On the rankings though, Nathaniel, it is actually 125.
Yeah, that's about right.
The bottom is 138. So
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I would probably put it below, to be honest with you.
I don't like it.
It might go. I mean, all right, fellas. Like I said, 138's the bottom. Black Adam's 136. I'm probably putting this below Black Adam.
Damn.
Ooh.
Okay, well, hear me out. Snake Eyes is 135. We've all shitted on Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes is
times.
bad.
Can I put this film above Snake Eyes?
I don't know, man. So, like, I think this falls into some of the
Probably.
same directing mistakes that Snake Eyes does, though. There's like multiple times where this felt visually uncomfortable to me. Specifically, like you just start at the start where he's talking with the family, like they flip back and forth in that 2-shot like 15 times in goofy. That scene. Yeah. It's super weird. And then there's one later on too where I think he's hugging the daughter maybe on the beach in like a flashback scene. And it's like from one side, then the other, then the other, then the other. And it's like almost this weird 360-degree kind of like go around, but it just feels so fake. Like they're not in the same room and just, I don't know. It's not directed well, in my opinion. But what do I know? I don't direct anything yet. So anyways, yeah, I think between this and Snake Eyes, I'd probably rather watch this. I'd probably rather watch this than Snake Eyes.
I'm right at 136, and that's only because I don't think either one of them is better than the other. I think the Snake Eyes and this are just kind of like a toss-up. The only thing that would sway my judgment is which one is shorter. But I would probably take this over fucking Black Adam.
Yeah.
Now, if
that is the lone thing this has going forward is that it is the 90-minute.
Yeah.
Which for a movie to be unbearable, you can't ask for anything else for it, but outside of it being 90 minutes.
Bro.
I almost find that insulting for this movie, though, too. Like, it just makes me feel like this is a movie that Sony threw together just to like almost fill
There's no
a
way
space.
This movie should be 90 minutes.
Like it just feels like they were like, "Hey, Quiet Place dudes, you guys got an extra script? We got like a Starship Troopers gun and I don't know, some Adam Driver has to complete a contract movie with us for some reason. Like, can you go film in Wyoming for 3 weeks and make a movie? All right, cool. That being said, the acid Old Faithful like thing was pretty sick where they killed the dinosaur. Yeah, with the geyser. That was pretty cool. Won't deny that.
I don't think I don't think it was acid. I mean, it kind of is, but it's basically like water and sulfur.
I think it's just hyper
And
hot
it's very,
or whatever.
it's very pressurized and very hot.
For sure.
I'm sure there is some kind of acidic nature to it because it is sulfur, but yeah.
Okay, well, any other thoughts, boys? Should we wrap this bad boy up? Though we're sans Adam.
Yeah, let's get the flock out of here.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Did we decide where we are next week? What movie we're watching, or is that a post pod Adam suggestion?
Is John Wick out?
Yes, it is John Wick. It's John Wick 4. So yeah, folks, if you want to watch with us, watch John Wick 4. I'm not gonna read. We don't have any 5-star reviews, but if you want to help us grow, and if you want to have us show up in other folks' algorithms, you could give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, whatever you prefer. If you give us a 5-star review though, and say what you like about us, say what you don't like about us, say whatever you want, really, just don't be evil. We'll read it out on the podcasts, and yeah, all that good stuff. You can email the podcast. I think that's backrowbanterpod@gmail.com, if I'm not mistaken, after hearing that for somewhere close to 125 episodes in a row or somewhere in there. You can always find us at backrowbanterpod on Twitter and probably Instagram, somewhere in that too. Share the podcast. That helps us grow. If you like how we're talking, like our general vibe, maybe you want to share us with. Who could you share us with?
A girl that you found on a planet.
Yeah, should you find a child
that you're raising
that you need to take from one place to the other, maybe just give them the podcast to listen to while you're hanging out, and they know you mean well because you've got 4 gentlemen, hanging out, giving you good vibes, all that kind of stuff. On the other hand, maybe use it as a distraction for a dinosaur. Dinos don't care.
True.
They'll play the whole episode. Maybe they'll share it with their friends and let them know about it. But anyway, we could grow, folks. That would help us. That's what we like to do. What we're all about. We would love to do this more professionally, maybe.
Yeah.
Just as a
on a larger scale.
Yeah. Maybe just to hang out with you folks more. But anyways, that would help us out. Let's get on out of here for today. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @nsgingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast. Let's kick it on over to Blake. Where can the people find you, Fun?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there rating some things out of 5 stars. I gave 65 2 stars, which I think is probably the second lowest rating I've ever given out on there.
I would agree with that star rating.
For sure. BlakeHolder, Letterboxd, like I said. Outside of that, that's about it. We'll go. It's only 2 other people. We'll go to Ty.
Twitch.tv/ultrabajo87. We like to stream sometimes, and it'd be cool to have people there to talk to. Other than like Justin sometimes. Other than that, it's Letterboxd, Twitter, and Instagram usually, I think. I don't know. But it's Tyler Vidalis, VID, ALES.
With that being said, folks, we will see you next week. And be excellent to each other, everyone. And we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to go off on a little, not a tangent, but off from what I usually say. Just check on your friends. Mental health is important. And just make sure everyone's doing okay. Because some people hide it very well. And yeah, love the people in your life and don't take that shit for granted. And we'll BRB.
Yeah, good point. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. I'll kind of double down on what Ty's saying in terms of kind of switching some things up as outside of the usual. I believe March is Women's History Month, so let's make sure we're doing the right things in that regard, supporting things created by women, owned by women, manifested by women. So that's all I got. We'll BRB.
Oh, and by the way, folks, everyone, R.I.P. Lance Reddick. The OG.
Oh yeah,
yeah, true.
We did not talk about this.
Absolutely.
This will be a little afterpod stinger, but yeah, maybe
that just killed me.
the Lance Reddick. Yeah, I think maybe most of us found out when Adam, I believe, emailed the group or messaged the group the other day. I think automatically. I think of The Wire at this point. I think of
For sure.
You know, John Wick at this point. But I think even as well too, Brandon on his side of stuff, just his Reddick's ubiquitousness in video games as well too, and even streaming platforms, TV, all of it. Man was everywhere. I think I said to the group, one of the folks I was genuinely happy to see anytime he appeared on screen or heard his voice or anything. Just always a pleasure to have, always giving 100%. Genuinely will be missed. So RIP Lance Reddick. Hope you're in a better place, buddy.
Absolutely.
Anyone else want to talk their thoughts there real quick?
Yeah, that was one when, like I said, when like Nathaniel said, Adam reached out to the group chat. It was one where I kind of read and I was like, oh man. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. I'm familiar with Lance Reddick from The Wire. This is actually one me and my dad even spoke about because my dad is a huge Wire fan. That's what got me into The Wire. So me and my dad exchanged a few text messages on that. This is sad day overall. So yeah, prayers and condolences to his friends and families and close ones. And yeah, give people their flowers while they're here.
Facts. Yeah, R.I.P. He was in a few Law and Order Special Victims units. So so that's something that definitely resonates with me quite a bit. Yeah, and then you got some really good video game stuff in there, as far as like Destiny and obviously the John Wicks. And he recently was on. He did some stuff for Vox Machina, which is an animated show, which has gotten some pretty good regards.
Amazing show. Big fan.
Yeah, so he's great. He was really great for the industry, and he did a lot of things. And yeah, he showed up and he showed out. So R.I.P. and condolences to his family for sure.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Maybe I will go like kids movie in the background.
You can go Turok N64 gameplay.
Whoa. That's lit.
Bro, I remember.
Y'all ever play Turok?
Yeah.
I'm sure Tyler has.
Fuck yeah.
I remember being probably 5 years old and going over to my cousin's house and them having Turok on their PC when it was like Windows 98 like shit.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And just like that was maybe the first video game I ever remember seeing. And like the big thing being like people being like, "Oh, dude, get the crossbow." Or something. And like,
for sure.
Man, yeah, it was
that's shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my earliest memory of a video game is Turok on that PC. Fuck, that was
for sure, bro.
Nope, I take that back. My parents had some sort of fucking like Windows 96 that had like a Mickey Mouse game on it that I remember playing. when I was like 5 as well too. But Turok was definitely the first shooter I ever heard about.
Yeah, it is FPS for sure.